Hello friends, my name is Pramod Kumar, and in today's video session I'm going to start Java programming. In my previous video I have shown you how to make your computer ready to do the Java programming. So in that session I've shown you how to install Java, how to configure the IntelliJ IDEA to do the programming. So in today's session we are going to start the Java programming. So let's start it. So the objectives. So what we are going to cover in this session. First of all, the anatomy of a Java program, writing a simple application, various data types in Java, what are variables, what are the literals, how we initialize and use a variable, calling methods from static methods, what is string class and its methods. This is very much going to be used in a programming. Various type conversion, the data type conversion that we are going to learn. What are array? We have to learn what the array is. Those are very much used. What are various operators which is used in Java, and how we are going to use the arguments of main method in Java programming. Okay, so first of all, anatomy of Java. So if you are going to learn Java, if you want to become a Java programmer, or if you are doing a Java program, so these are some terms that every day that you are going to learn, or you have to hear it, you have to speak it. So you have to very much familiar with these words. So those are like classes. Obviously, if you write Java program, you have to deal with classes. Methods, people call it functions also. The main methods that is going to be used in Java program. Comments, we will see what are those. Packages, there are certain reserved keywords or words. Modifiers, statements, blocks. Okay, so let's see. So before writing a Java program, let's see a sample Java program. Now on this screen you can see some code is written, right? This is a sample Java program. This program is written to show some value on the screen. Okay, now let's understand what the structure of this program is. In Java, whenever you are going to write any program, right, you have to start with a class. Okay, now this particular line where the class test is written, and it has a start curly bracket and it has an end curly bracket. Okay, now from here to here, this complete is a class program. Okay, now this is a class program, and under that class all the other codes are written. Now this class CLLA this class is a keyword. This is a Java keyword in small letter, and after that the test which is written, that test is the name of this class. So whenever we write a program in Java, we have to write in a class, and class is written like this: the keyword class space and the name of class. Okay, so I would call it as a test class. So this class name is test, so this is a test class. Now before this class, I can see that there's another line written, that is I import java.lang. Now this import java.lang, we call it as a package. Now I will come later on this topic, this package, but for now just understand that this is package, this is class, this is starting of the class, this is the end point of the class. Now what class consists? The class consists my programs, and which includes the variables. Here I can see this variable, this int x is a variable. I will come on later what this variable actually means. Okay, but for now this is a variable int x. Before the variable, in the double slash I have written this declare variable. Now this particular line are called comments. Comments are nothing but those are some statement which are actually not a part of program, means those are not going to execute in a program, but it will be visible to a developer, to a programmer. So a programmer writes some text which going to be help to the same developer or some other developer. So these are some comments or help a developer write to make the developer help in suppose after 2 months or 3 months, if I'm going to see the same program, so to understand the program, what that particular word or line that I have written, what are the purpose, so I write some comments. Okay, so int x is a variable. Now here I can see public void so, it has a start bracket, it has an end bracket. Okay, now this is called a method. This particular section is a method, and I can see there's another method, public static void main. This again it's a method. You can see the start bracket and the end bracket. This is also one method. So in this particular class I can see there's one variable, there are two methods. Okay, and at the top we have a package. Okay, so it's a package section where a package is being used. Okay, now so this is a very simple Java program in which there is a some class which have some variables and we have some methods. Okay, now so whenever we are going to write any programs right in Java, we have to follow same kind of structure, using some methods, using some variables in some class. Okay, fine. Now before writing a program, we have to understand the data types. Okay, now what are data types? Let's see. So let's write a small program first in IntelliJ IDEA, and we'll understand like what the data types are or how the data types are going to use. So I'm going to create a new project. And if you have remember in my last session, here I have to select the Java. I don't need to do anything over here. And this place I will write the name of my project. So this is the name of my project, getting started. Okay, now here I'm going to create a Java program. So as I told you that if you want to make a Java program, you have to make a Java class. So I'm right clicking on this src folder, new and class. Okay, so I'm giving a name of this class as test, pressing this button. Okay, so now I have a test class. So this is a class, you can see this. Now this curly bracket, there are two ways the peoples are using this curly bracket. This is the one way where I'm going to start the bracket just on the same line and closing at the last line, or someone uses the brackets like this also. So both are correct. Okay, it depends on you, right, which one that you prefer. Okay, so normally I prefer this way. Okay, now so this is a class, simple class. Okay, now if I have a class, right, you can execute a class, you can compile the class, you can run the class. Okay, so let's see if this is the minimum program, right, what this program is going to do. I have a class test, what this class will do if I run this program. So first of all, let's compile this program to check if there is any issue or not. Okay, so I'm just pressing this recompile button from here, or I can use this build button on the toolbar, whatever. So I'm just using this right click, recompile test. So if this program having some error, so it will show you at the lower bottom section. So currently I'm not seeing any issue. Okay, so this program is perfect. Now what will happen if I run this program? I'm just right clicking on this and I'm looking one option which called as a run program. So I'm not seeing this option run. Okay, I'm not seeing run menu option in this shortcut. Why? Because in Java, if I'm writing a Java application, okay, so to run a Java application, I need to tell that where is the starting point of the program, from where the program is going to be executed. Okay, without mentioning that, it will not going to run the program. Okay, so as I told you that in a Java class I can have variables, I can have methods. Okay, there is no limit on the count side, right? How many variables I can make, how many methods I can make. Right now, if I have many variables, many methods, and if I want to run the program, so I have to tell like, okay, from where it should start, what is the starting point of this class. Okay, so you may write n number of methods, like method 1, method 2. Okay, now you can see this is not method actually. I have written in double slash, it's a comment. Okay, it's not actual method, it's a comment. Okay, so it is not going to be part of the program, but just for developer, for me, for you, right, you can understand okay what I'm writing. Okay, now if I want to write an actual variable, I will write like this: int x and a semicolon. Now this x is a variable. Okay, now what this variable is, variable is nothing but a storage box, storage location on your RAM. So whenever I run a Java program, I need to store something for temporary purpose. Okay, so to store any data, any information, if you require in a program, you have to use variable. Now variables are memory location on your RAM. Okay, now to identify the memory location, we give a name to that variable. Okay, so let me show by a simple diagram. If I'm saying in a computer I'm having a RAM. Okay, this one is a RAM. I'm not a good artist, but I'm just trying to make you clear. Okay, so this is a RAM. This is a memory hardware device on your computer, which have some storage capacity. Okay, and if I am writing a Java program, okay, so this is my Java program. I have written some code into it. Right now, suppose I have to store some data. Data means like suppose a number. I want to store some number. I want to store some text. Okay, suppose I have to store my name in my program. So in my program, if I want to store name, or if I want to store my age or date of birth or my phone number, okay, so the program will use the RAM to store the data. So my program is going to store my age, for example. Okay, so in RAM my program need one space like this. Okay, this space will be used to store the age. Okay, now there could be some other space also for storing some other information. Okay, like another store space is used to store my name. Okay, now so I can see on RAM there are two locations that these red circles are going to be used to store some information. Now this particular space will be used to store age. The another box, the location, will be used to store the name. Now similarly, there may be n number of memory locations which are going to be used by my program or by some other program. So to make this space readable, identifiable, so that easily I can identify, I give a name, this one. So this age and name is the name of this location where I can store the data. Now what I can store in age? So in job, from job program, I can store age into this variable. I can store name into this variable. Okay. Now if I say I can store age, so I can store age, but I haven't told you like what exactly which age that I'm going to store. See, I can store age as per the program. I can store any number into this box. This age will contain number, right? Because it is used for age, and age will always use a number. So I can say that in this particular box I can store any number, right? So the type of data, what is data? My age. Okay, let's suppose the number I'm going to store is 35. Okay, so if I'm going to store 35, so this 35 is the value, the 35 is actually the data. Okay, and this data is going to store into this memory location. So I can store 35, but I can store 25 as well. So right now if I store this 35 into this variable, okay, and after that if I want to store 25, okay, so now if I have 25 right now, I want to store this 25. So whenever I put 25 into it, it will replace the old value. So at the time only one numeric value will be there. So whenever I assign, I put something, so the previous one will be removed, right? So this is the nature of the variable. So that's why we call it as a variable, because the content of this memory location changes. It's not fixed. Initially it was blank, nothing. Later on I added 35, and after that I added 25. So this memory location values keeps changing. And who is going to change? The program, obviously. And we, the programmer, will decide when I have to store what, right? So this is the nature of this variable, the memory location. So in short, these variable are nothing but a memory location in the RAM, which can hold data. What kind of data it can store? So for example, for this age, I am storing numeric. Similarly, in the name memory location, I can store characters also, alphabets also, right? So the memory location, now we can call it variable. Variable contains data, and data have some type. What are the type? Right now just you have seen the type is number, the type is character. Okay, so the age data types, age variable holds the data of type number. Now the name variable can hold the data of type string or the character, right? Now come back to the program. So whenever I write int x, so this indicate that I am making one variable. The name of variable is x. Name of variable is x, and the data type of variable x is int, which is a number, or you may call it numeric. So this is the type of the variable. So this statement, what I am doing in this statement, I am, there are many terms that we call it. Someone calls it as a declaring variable. Okay, okay. So we also call it as creating variable. So it has two part. One, the data type, int is data type, x is the variable name. Okay, so these two things are required to declare, to make a variable. Okay, all are comment, so these are not part of program. Only one line is a program, this int x. So this is what I am creating one variable. Okay, fine. So in a class, our variables are there. In a class, methods will be there. Now let's understand what the variables data types can be of. So there are so many types of variables also. Okay, so in the data type, there are major two kinds of data type we have in Java. One, we call it as a primitive or standard data types. Okay, now primitive or standard data types are the data types that we use in our day-to-day programs, and which are varies as per their size and type of data. For example, the byte data type in Java, we use the in a small. This is the smallest with data type that we use in programming Java programs, which is having a size of 1 byte, which is equal to 1 bit. The other variable which are called as a sort, which has a bigger than byte of double size, that is a 16 bit of data. The int, which is just now we have seen, which occupies which allow you to store 32 bit of data. It is enough data to store a numeric value. If you want to store some bigger data, bigger integer data, then we will use this long, which has a 64 bit of size. Now there are some other data types which allows to store numeric value, plus it allow you to keep the fraction part also if you have some decimal numbers. So in the decimal numbers, you have to specifically have to use the other data types. The int, long, short, byte, those will not allow you to add the decimal values. So the float data type, which is used to store a decimal value, which is the size of the float is equal to the size of int, but the difference is the float will allow you to put the decimal data also. If you want a decimal data which is a big data, then you should use the double data type. Okay, this double data type is used to store the decimal data which is a big in size. Now if you want to store the text value, alphabets, characters, so the smallest is smaller data type, we have a char. If you declare a variable as char, so it will allow you to store 16 bit of data, that is 2 byte of data. Okay, there is another data type we call it a boolean is a data type which occupies 1 bit of memory, the smallest one, and normally we use this data type to keep some logical value like yes or no, true, false kind of thing. Okay, so these all are known as the primitive or standard data type. The second one we have called as a derived data type. Now derived data type are actually data types which are built upon those primitive data types. So primitive data types we already have, right? Now using that primitive data types, there is another data types are derived. Okay, and those are used for many purposes. For example, on this screen I'm showing the string data types. So actually in Java, this string is a class. It's a pre-built, pre-available class in JDK, which allow you to store a series of characters. Okay, so we'll come on later to understand what this string is going to be used. Okay, so these are the data types. If you know, then you can write many Java programs which require memory access, the data storage and all. So you should understand these data types. Okay, fine. Now, just now I have told you that what the variables are. So I hope you are very much clear about the what the variables and how it is related with the memory location on the RAM. Okay, declaration of the variable, we have understood how do we declare, just by putting the variable name, and before that we use the data type. Okay, now what is initialization? Whenever we use any data types, okay, so now if I ask you, like, I have declared variable int and x, so it's a memory location. So if I ask, like, what the value of x is right now, what is the value into this x? So whenever I declare a space, so I told you that initially when I declare a space, it has blank, right? The name is x, the type is integer. But what in the derived data types, what happens, whenever I declare, whenever I create a variable, automatically it initialize it with some default value. So it doesn't have a blank initially, it has an initial value into it. Now what the initial value, it depends upon the data type, what data type that you have used. So in case of int, this x value will be initialized with value 0. So initially it has a value 0. Initialize means what? The initial value. So when I just declare this variable x, automatically the value of x is 0. So it is not blank. Okay. So this is the default allocation of the value. But what if I want to assign or add some value into it? So you can do it directly by assign operator. If I write is x equal to and some value, so it will assign the value, right? But you have to understand what is the location, where should I declare, where should I assign. At this point of time, in a class level, I am declaring a variable and I'm assigning a variable, so it is showing me an error. So there are some certain rules that we have to understand, that how to initialize and how to assign value. Okay, so we'll come later on this. So I'm just removing with this because this is not correct. So and this is not the position where we should initialize. Either we'll initialize like this by 0, and if I have some custom value, if I want that from the beginning it should have value, suppose 10, so I can write like this. So in this particular line, what I am doing, I am declaring a variable x, and also I am initializing a variable 10. So there are two things I am doing at this line. I am doing declare variable x and initializing with value 10. So two things I am doing. Okay, so this is called initialization, where I am assigning some value, and this is called the declaration, where I am declaring, I am just defining what the variable name and what is the data type. Okay, fine. So by default, I told you that the primitive data types are automatically initialized. Okay, but if I want, I can assign it. Now literals. Now what the literals is actually, literals is nothing but the value that we are going to assign in a variable. Just now in our example, the value 10 that I have stored, this is a literal. Okay, if you don't know, if you don't want to know like what is the literals is, so there is no make difference, right? If you want to write a program, even if you don't know what is literal, but I know like this 10 value is the value, right? So I have to concern with this writing program with the value and the variable. Okay, but for you, the literal, if you know like literal is because manywhere you will hear this keyword literal. So just for your information, like just for a knowledge purpose, I'm just telling you this literal are nothing but the value that we are going to assign. Okay, now this is the value assigning for the integer type of data. Okay, now what if the other data type that if I'm using? Now suppose I'm using a float data type. Okay, now float is, suppose there is a variable called rate. In this variable I will store the rate of some article, some product. Okay, and the rate is in some decimal in the fraction part. So I can assign like this 10.5 suppose. Now this is the value 10.5 that we are going to assign into the float variable. Now I told you that this will accept the decimal value, but I can see there is a red mark is showing. That means there is some mistake. What the mistake is, whenever I assign some literal to the data types float, we have to specify a small f at the end. Otherwise, if I'm not providing the f, it treat this value as some other data type. Okay, if I write like the post this 10, it will treat this integer. If I put some decimal point, so some other decimal variable like the double, it can treat, right? So to specify it's a float, I use a f. Okay, so this is a float data type. Now if I want to store a character, the char data type, I told you that a char data type will accept a character. Okay, so how to store a character? So just declare the data type and the variable name. Okay, the variable name is suppose my char. Now what to store? Now what is the character? Now character are all the keys, the symbols printed on your keyboard. That means you can store all the letters A to Z, caps A to Z, number, and all these special symbols, whatever symbols you have in your keyboard, whatever. Each symbol are one character. Okay, so suppose I want to store capital A into this variable. If I write like this, it will not allow. A character value are enclosed with single quotes always. Otherwise, it will not allow you to store. Fine. Okay. And the boolean value, boolean are written like this. Boolean. Suppose I want to store the answer given by a portion. Suppose I ask you some question like this is currently it's a day or night. Okay, so if the answer is yes no, so some there are some question of which the answers are yes or no, true or false kind of thing, yes or no. Okay, so suppose answer variable, if I want to store yes or if I want to store no. Okay, so clearly you can see if I want to store the value yes, so there are three characters. Okay, but I don't want to store three characters. Why to waste memory? Why can't just store in place of this true? Now if I write this true, it has multiple characters 1 2 3 4, but in memory it will store only one bit of memory. It will take only one bit, and that's why it's a character. It's not a character, it's a boolean value. Okay, so if I write true or false, it occupies only one bit of memory. Okay, fine. There are certain rules whenever we initialize the value into a variable. What are the rules are? Each variable should be initialized with some value. It's a default rule, but as I told you that the primitive data types are initialized automatically, no need to initialize. By default, Java initializes the value with the default value. Okay, we know it. Okay, so this was the variable. Now come to the methods. What is method? Methods in Java programs are the functionality. Functionality means what? What this class is going to do. See, I am writing this program to achieve something, right? To do something. Now, so first of all, we have to understand what I'm going to achieve by writing this program. Why I'm writing this program? What I need this? What the output will be? What is the purpose of this program? Okay. For example, I am writing this program to display hello. Okay. So the purpose of writing this program, I'm writing one comment. Purpose of this program or class is to display hello. So this is what I want. Okay. Now to if I want to display something or to do any activities, one activities or multiple activities, I have to write into a method or a function. Okay. So to display hello or to do any other thing activities, right, I have to make a method. Now how our methods are written? For now I will write this. Okay, just forget this public, I will tell you later on. I'm just writing void, so I'm giving us the round bracket, the start and the end. Now see what is this. I've written this void, there's a so. Okay, now so is the name of this method. Okay, method name is so. Now this bracket given after this is required whenever I'm making a method. This bracket is required at the end of the method name. Okay, this method is going to be used to display hello. Okay, so you have to specify the name of the method in a way so that this method name will indicate the output of this method or the purpose of this method. Okay, so there are certain naming conventions are also there in Java. Okay, so I will cover it in a later session. So this particular section, I can see, you can see this is the method body. This is all the method. The variables are written in single line, but a method can have n number of statement, n number of line into it, because it's not a single statement, it's a set of statements. So whatever I want to do, I can write into this section. So for now I have to display hello. Okay, so in Java, if I want to display on console or the prompt something, I have to use system.out.println, and under that I am going to display hello. So I have to write in hello. So this statement will display hello on my command line. Fine. Okay, so in my program, in this class test, now I am having a method called so. And what this so method contains, it has a statement written to display hello. Okay, so let's try to run this program and see if it is running or not, if it is displaying hello or not. Okay, so now again I'm recompiling. So it is compiling, just see at the lower side. Now again if I try to run it, I'm not seeing any run menu. Why? Because as I was telling you that the Java program needs the starting point. I'm just writing back the variable initialization. So in this Java program, I'm having one variable x and having one method so. But the Java is not getting understand like from where it has to start, what exactly it has to do, because I have a so method. The class may have some other methods also. So a Java class which is executable, if you want to run the Java class, then you have to add one method which is a main method. The main method is a method which is actually the method which is going to run at the very first. That method will run the other methods in a program. Otherwise, you are not going to run the program. So there is no compile issue, there is no syntax error. But to run the program, I have to add the Java main method. Now, the main method, the syntax for main method is standard, it's a fix. You have to write this public static void main, and in the bracket I have to define one args. I will come on later what this main method is. Now this particular method will be executed at the very first. Okay, right now in this program, if I again try to compile, now you can see one run option is coming. Earlier it was not coming. Now because the main method is there, so this program is going to be executed now. So when I press this run, the IntelliJ IDEA tool will first compile automatically and then it will run. So no need to do the compile and run. Directly I can do the run. So it will compile internally and run it. So if I run it, can you guess what is going to be do? So whenever I press run, it will go to this main method. It will run this main method. And what is written in this main method? I can see nothing, blank. Let's see. I'm just pressing this run. The program is executed. This is the execution statement, and this is the end line, means the program is completed. In between, I do not see any output, nothing. Why? Because this main method does not have anything written into it. Okay, suppose I write a system out println unto this and write over a welcome. That means in this program I am having one main method which actually try to show a welcome message. Now again I'm trying to run, right click, run. Now see, I am seeing a welcome message on the prompt. Why? Because this main method consists of a statement. If I write multiple statement into it, so now I have three statement, three print statement. So let's see what is happening. So I am getting all these three messages on the prompt. Okay, so that's I'm telling, like in the method, the body contains n number of statements. Okay, so in this program I'm having one variable x, I'm having another variable so, I'm having another method called main. So there are two methods, one variable. When I'm running a program, this main method is going to run. Right now this so method is not getting executed. Why? Because whenever you write a program in Java, you have to tell that which part is going to be called or executed. Right now, if I am not telling anything, so automatically the main will run. And if I want to run some other part of the program, then we have to specify that I want to run this so or any other method. Fine. Okay, I will come on that how to do that. Fine. So if you want to run some other part of the program, so you have to understand how to call the other part would be the variables or the methods. Okay, so now calling methods or calling variables. Now how to do that? Now for example, in this program, if I want to see the content of the variable x. I told you that initially whenever I declare a variable x, automatically it assigns some value. Okay, if you have remember, please wait and see what the value is. Okay, so I told you that there are some initial value is automatically assigned into it. How to see the content of this variable? If I want to see the content of the value and I want to print over here, so how to do that? So for that, the method into it, the show method or main method, there are two methods that I am having right now. I will use these methods, okay, to call that value. Now see, now I am removing this message displaying statement. Now I want to display the content of x. So anything I want to display, again I have to write this system.out.println. Okay, in the bracket I have to provide whatever I want to display. If I want to display any constant value, fixed value, then I will use in double quotes and fixed value. This is my fixed value. Okay, so it will display hello. But if I want to display one variable, I have to specify the name of the variable. So what is the name of variable? The name variable is x. So if I put this x, I should be able to display the content of that x logically. But I can see one red message. Okay. No. So the red message means what? I am having some issue. This is the compile issue. Okay. Let's see. I am trying to run it. Now it is showing some error message. So this is a compilation issue. So there is a compile issue. I will come on that. What the issue is. Now since I have declared a variable as integer over here, this is called the class label of declaration. That means I have declared in a class. Okay, I can declare a variable inside a method also, like this, int y equal to 10. Now I can declare a variable like this also. Now this declaration is done under the main method. Okay, and this variable is declared in a class label. The main method is declared as static, and I told you that this is a standard fixed syntax for writing main method. We can't do any change. This is a static method, and in my next session I will explain you what are the static. These are various access modifiers. For now, if it is a static method, it cannot access, it cannot print or capture or access anything which is not a static. Not static means what? It has to be declared as static, like this. This is a static integer variable, and if I don't write the static, it is a non-static integer variable. Okay, a static method can access only static variables. So right now this int is not a static variable, so it is showing a red compile issue. If I write static, now this error is gone, so it will easily access the value. Okay, now what the static means, I will tell you that in my next session I will cover those things. But just for now, if you're writing a program which has a main method, and if main method is trying to access something from outside of the method, so you have to be declared as a static. Okay, so for now this program, if I run, it will execute the main method. In main method I have declared a variable y, but I am displaying variable x. So this program will display the content of x. I'm going to run it. Now see, it is printing 0. What is this 0? 0 is x, and I told you that whenever I declare variable, it initializes with some value, and which is 0. If I initialize this value with some value, okay, now if I run, it will display 12. Similarly, I can print the value of y and see, right? And if I want to show both the values, x and y, right? Okay, one rule. In the class label, I can declare a variable like this without any value. There is no issue. But if I declare a variable inside a method and if I do not initialize any value, see, it is showing one error. What the error is? Just run it. It says variable y might not have been initialized. It is saying the value of the variable y is not initialized. But in case of x, it is not saying this. So whenever I declare any variable at class level, it automatically initializes with value 0. But if I declare a variable inside a method, which is called a local declaration, it always requires a value. So it will not initialize with default value. So I have to initialize with some value, whatever value I want as per my requirement. Okay. So this is what the value assigning and calling of the variables from the main method, right? Okay. Now come to the string part. So we have seen the integer values, how to call the integer values, how to assign the integer values. Now little bit on the string side, what the string variable and how to use the string variables. I told you that string variable is used to assign the characters values. Okay. If I want to store a single character, I will use a char variable. Okay, like this. Okay. But if I want to store a series of characters, like suppose my name, if I want to store my name, so I cannot store my name in the char variable. I cannot write like this. Why? Because it will allow to add only single character, not multiple character. So it will not allow to do this. So if you want to store a series of characters, then you have to use the string variable like this. This is a string variable which can store multiple characters as into a single variable. And how to do that? Just assign in a similar way but in double quotes. Now see, in double quotes all the string variables are written. Okay, so now this value, this value, this the value of this name is this the assigned text, and we use the variables in a similar way how we use the integer values. So if I want to display the value of my char and name, okay, now again let's see how to do that. I will use this my char into the string system.out.println, and I will use the name. Now can you guess what the issue is at this position? Put your mouse, it will show you the issue. And we have gone through the int also, right? What the static is missing, because these are non-static variables, so it will not allow to access. So I am declaring a static. Okay, similarly I'm doing this static for string also. So the error is gone, and now just run it. Fine. So I am able to see all the values of the string as well as the integer. Fine. Okay, now this string is actually a class in JDK. JDK provides this class, and if I'm calling a class, that means class must have some methods into it. Okay, so this string provides many methods into it, which we can use. We can call it to do some other operations whenever we required. So if I'm using any classes which is not made by me, someone else has coded this, and if I know the methods, what are the methods and what the purpose of those methods, so I can easily call those methods and I can achieve my purpose using those methods. Okay, so this is the predefined class string, and this string class provides many facilities. Let's see. So I've shown you just static, calling the static method. Okay, so this string, I told you that this is a class, and this class is already available in the JDK, and JDK provide those classes in some folders which are called as a package. Okay, so JDK have provided some folder structures into, they have added the predefined classes and those classes that we can utilize in our program. So no need to write those functionality once again. So the string class is reside under a folder called lang, and the lang folder contains under the folder called Java. So this is the folder structure. The top folder is Java, under that we have lang, and under that we have a class called string. So this complete path is known as a package. So package in Java nothing but a folder which contains my classes. So this package is provided by JDK itself. Okay, so we can directly use this package and access the classes into it. So all the java.lang packages are automatically added into every Java program, so we don't need to write any special line statement to use that. So directly I am using this string class in my program without writing any additional statement. Automatically this package, java.lang package, is added into my Java class. Okay, fine. So I told you that how to declare it and how to assign some values, how to display the values. Now you can add some values into your string variable. So the variable is name. Okay, and suppose if I want to display my name is and the value of this. So if I want to display like this, my name is and the variable. So in this particular line, this name part is variable and the rest is fixed, that is constant. So the constant strings are written in double quotes and variables are written without double quotes. In this line I am merging two things, some constant and some variable. So to add those we use a plus symbol. This is a string concatenation. I am concatenating two strings. This is also a string, this is also a string, but the left side string is a constant string, right side string is a variable string. That means the value of name that I can change from here. Okay, I can do whatever change I want. So now it will display what, this is the constant and the value of this variable. Let's see, right? Similarly I can do this with integer variable also. Like suppose here I am concatenating one string with a number, so it will display the value of this variable. Run it. So this left part is a constant string and the value. So this is the showing the value is 0. 0 is what? The x. Okay, fine. Now, as I told you that this string is a class which provides many methods into it, and that method are very much used in programming whenever we do some of the string programs which require some string operations. So there are certain very important methods which is required in day-to-day programs, which are like length method. Length method belongs to the string class, which is used to find the total length of the string. Okay. Caret function, which used to find the character at a particular location. I will show you the example. Just now I have shown you how we concatenate two string by using plus sign, but string class also provide one method called concat. We can also use this method. Equals method is used to compare two different strings if they are equal or not. We check the position of a particular character in a string by index of. If you want to convert the case of the text, if I want to convert in uppercase or lowercase, we have two methods, two lowercase, two uppercase. Okay, so let's see how to do that. Various methods. I'm just removing all this thing now. So first of all, if I want to know the size of the variable name, size of variable name is what? The size of the content of the variable. So if I write this name and to call the method, put a dot. So name is a string variable and string is a class, so it will provide you many methods. If I write length, so it will display you the length of this string variable. So it is showing 11, 18. You may count. Total character will be 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Space is also a string. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Fine. So this is what the total length of the string variable. Okay. Second, if I want to find the position of the letter K in the string, at what position the K is, so we call it index of. In the bracket, I have to provide the character, which character I want to find, and I told you that the character values are written inside this single quote. Okay, so it will find the letter K and it will display the position number of that K into that name. It is showing at 7 number. Now the position number start with 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now at the 7th position from the starting here, you can find the position of the K. Right now, the next method is caret. Caret, it asks you to provide one number. Okay, like suppose 4 I provided, so it will display the character at the position number 4. It is showing O. So start with 0. If you count 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, so this 4 is the character at this location. Okay, now the concat method, as I told you, concat method is used to add a string with another string. So if I want to concat name with some other text or some other variable, I can use it. So I have written one space and hello. So I am adding name with the hello. So what will display? It will display the content of name and then the hello. Okay, I can do this by using plus symbol also, as I've shown you earlier. Right? Okay. Now type conversion. Now what is this type conversion? Type conversion is nothing but whenever I'm assigning some value from one variable to another variable, or if I'm doing some assignment to a variable, right? So at that time we do some conversion. Now what kind of conversion is there? Are some called automatic type conversion. Automatic type conversion means what? If I am assigning some value to a variable, okay, and if the values are having the same type, so automatically the type will be converted. Like suppose if I am doing int data into 5.6, okay, now you can see what is happening over here. It is showing at right side I am having double, because 5.6 becomes the double digit, a decimal number, okay. Left side I am having int, so automatically this 5.6 is not getting assigned into int. It is not getting assigned because the right side data is a double and the size of double is big, so we are not able to store the big data into the small data, okay. But if I write int data equal to 2 or 3, so this 3 is a number, okay, it's an integer, it may be a long, right, and it automatically getting stored, so there is no special conversion I need to do. It is automatically conversion is happening, automatically it is getting stored into the variable int, okay. Now in the earlier one where the right side is treating as a double, if I put a f, okay, now f becomes the float, again it is not compatible because it's a float and it's a number, okay, and number doesn't allow a float value, so again it will not allow to store this float also. Fine, okay. Now if I do the reverse one, as I told you, if I declare a float value my data, and if I store x into it, x is what? An integer. You can see it is automatically storing. Why? Because see this is a decimal value and this is a non-decimal, so a non-decimal value can be stored into a decimal value. There is no issue on that, okay. Similarly, if I have a double value, I can store x as well because the double is having a big size, so x is have a small size, I can store it easily. There's no issue, okay. But what will happen if I do some reverse thing, and how to do that? So in case during programming sometime it happens that I'm having one float data, okay, and I want to store the data into an integer. I want to store in integer, I want only the integer part I want, okay. I want the value without the decimal part. So if I write like this rate, it will not allow. So if I want to do it this forcefully to int, I will write int over here like this, okay. This is called typecasting. Typecasting means what? Forcefully I am converting this data into the integer. The right side data is a float, but I am converting into the integer, and this is not actual conversion, actually we are typecasting, and where here there are the chances of the loss of the data because we are storing some different data types, different data. It may be a difference in size also, to a different size in the lower side, so there may be not compatible, right, so there may be chances of losing some data. So this is what called the conversion of the data by typecasting. If I want to see that what the data are stored into it, so let's try to display. I'm removing this part and just want to display the new value, new rate. See, this is again it is requires static. I run it. Now see, this new rate is showing 10, but actually the rate is 10.5. Same rate I have assigned to this int, but it is not showing the 0.5 value. Why? Because it will not allow to store the decimal part, but forcefully I have converted, right? Okay. So this will happen, right? If you try to store a large value to a small value, so automatically the data will be converted. You have to by typecasting, but the chances of losing of some data. Okay, fine. Now what will happen? Suppose if I'm having a variable of string type. Okay, let's see inside this. I'm having a string variable, and as I told you that this string can have any number, any type of characters, 0 to 1, A to Z, any special character, anything it can store. That means I can store 0 to 9 also. So if I write 100, and if there is an int, if I see these two variables, right, one is integer, second is string, both are having 100 logically, but there is a difference in the type. This 100 is stored as number, okay, but this string variable contains 100 as string. The values look same, but the types are different. Okay, the 100 number can be stored as a string, as a number. Okay, the difference will be their calculation. Calculation means what? I can write my num plus 100, or suppose plus 2. That means I'm adding plus 2 to this variable. Let's see. So I want to display my num plus 2. That means it will display the my num value and the plus 2. So how much it be? It should be 102, right? So it's a number, and if I use plus symbol with number, so it will add this. It's a numeric addition. So it will do the arithmetic addition to this number. But if I use this my data, this is string, and if I use plus symbol with a string, so it will not do arithmetic addition, it will do the string concatenation. It will concatenate or append this string. See, it is showing 102. It is not 102, it is 102. It is concatenated, appended the value of 2. So this is not numeric addition, it is simply string concatenation. I show you both together. My num plus 2 and my data type. This is integer addition, and here is string concatenation. Okay, so what if I am getting some value as a string, but I want to do arithmetic calculation. I want to do arithmetic calculation onto do. So this way, if I write, it will not do arithmetic calculation. It will simply concatenate. Okay. So to do the calculation, arithmetic calculation, I have to convert this string into integer. So how to do that? If I want to store the value, I want to store the value of this my data after converting to integer. So there's a way how to do that. I will write this integer. There is a class called integer dot parse int, and under that if I pass this my data, integer dot parse int is a, this is the class, this is a method. I am calling one method parse int, and I'm passing the string value. So this will convert this string to number. Now this value 100 converted into the number, and now this number I can use to do the arithmetic calculation. I cannot use this variable, but I can use this variable. Now see, So this way we convert a string to a integer. Okay, now let's do some problem solving. Okay, so in this method there are two variables a and b. Variable a is a type of byte and b is also a type of byte, and a is equal to 10, b is equal to a into 10. I'm multiplying this and I'm showing the value of b. Can you guess what will happen? Okay, now if I ask what this 2 is, what the type of this 2, what the type of this 10, what is data type of 10? Whenever we type a number, automatically it treated as double, and left side we have byte. Okay, so it will show you one error, right? It may treat double, it may be treated as int, so it will not allow to assign, and we have seen that also whenever we are trying to assign some float value into int, so it will not compile. Okay, fine. Okay, now array, we have seen what the variables are. Okay, now in array, if I want to store the series of values with the same name, okay, like if I have to store the age of 10 people, okay, age of 10 people, 10 persons. So normally till now we know, like, okay, to store a age I have to create one variable, like suppose int age. So I will store the age of some value, some portion. Okay, now if I want to store the age of another portion, I will create another age like this. Okay, similarly I will make for other peoples, right? But what if I am having 100 persons, 1000 persons? Okay, so it's a very huge program, right, to declare the 1000 variables with 1000 different names, and to handle those 1000 variables to the program. So program will become too complex, right? So what Java provides you, it provides you a technique to store multiple values. So in our case, for example, I want to store the age of 10 peoples. So all the 10 peoples will have age in numeric type. So we know that I have 10 numeric values. So all the values are of same type. So in spite of using 10 different variables, I can make one variable, and I can store all the ages of all persons together. What I will do, I will make one bracket symbol like this, and I will use a curly bracket, and I will start writing the age like this. This is the age of first portion, second portion, third portion, fourth, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now see what is happening over here. Here I have written int age. So the type of variable is age. But I have written one bracket symbol. This bracket symbol indicate that this is an array. It's not a single variable. Obviously it's a variable, but it is a special variable, we call it array. So array consists of multiple values. Okay. Now this single variable has stored all the values, all 10 values is it stored. Okay, with the same name. The name is age. Okay, but how to display the value? If I want to display, get any particular value, so these are displayed using their position number. Let me show you. So array are stored in memory with the name. The structure is like this. These have multiple boxes are individual values. Each values have a position number. We call it an index number. It starts with 0. These index number are used to get the value, to access the value. So if I want to display the age of the first person, of the third person, or the fourth person, I will use the variable age, and in bracket I have to pass the position number, like suppose 0. 0 means the first position. Let's run it. It is showing 24, right? The first portion. If I pass 5, that means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, this portion. So it should display 21, right? So this is what an array is very helpful to write this kind of program, where we are using a group of similar types of data together, okay, like we've seen for the age. Okay, so this type of data that we have stored, we call it as a one dimension. One dimension with, like, we have one row like of structure. Okay, so just now we have seen like how one type of structure is used for storing the marks, the age in our case. Okay, now we have seen the example for the integer. Similarly, you can use for the string also. Like I have to store multiple city together, you can store it like this also. While declaring, this bracket, array bracket symbol are used in this way also, before the variable name, or you can use after the variable name as well. Okay, now there are something called double dimension array. Now what is double dimension array? Double dimension array are little bit more complex, more useful also, where we are going to store multiple rows of data. Multiple rows of data, in a sense, like, see, it store the data in a matrix kind of format, where we have a multiple rows. In single dimension we have seen one row of data. Okay, now here we have multiple rows of data. Okay, for example, I want to store the marks of various subjects in one single variable. What I am trying to say, suppose this is the marks. Okay, so this is the marks of 10 persons of one subject, suppose for maths. This is the maths marks of 10%. Similarly, I can create the marks for science as separate variable. I can make like this, marks 2, marks 3 kind of thing. But I can write a single variable to keep the marks of 10 peoples, 10 peoples, 10 students you can say, and 4 subjects. Okay, so how to do that? First of all, in place of single dimension array, we use this single one bracket symbol, and if I have a double dimension array, I will use one more brackets. Okay, now how we assign the value, there's a little difference. So this particular value is for math, so I will put in a curly bracket, right? So this is for the math. The next line, by giving a comma, I can write the marks of the different subject. Again give a comma, and the third subject. Single variable name is marks, which has 3 subject of the value and of 10 portions. You can see the every row has having entry of 10 marks. Now how to access a particular marks? Now in marks, if I put this 0, if I put this marks variable and the 0, that means it will denote the first row. Okay, it will denote the first row. And if I want to access a particular value, let's suppose this 56 means this is for math, this is for English, this is for science. Okay, now if I want to see the marks of math of this second portion, so I will use this marks and this 1. Why 1? Because this is 0, this is 1. Okay, let's see. Fine. Similarly, if I want to see these marks of science of first portion, so this is row number 0, row number 1, row number 2. So this is the row number 2 and this is 0. Okay, so this is called double dimension array. Okay, so here you can see this is the row number 0, 1, 2, the 3 rows, and these columns are individual portions in particular row. So here we can see that in a single variable how we can store multiple values of multiple data. Okay, now whenever you use any array, so you can initialize array with values like this also. Directly you can use the index value and assign the values. And if you want to find the length of the array, what the length of the array, so you have a length keyword, just use dot length and it will give you the length of the array. Okay, fine. Okay, now there are certain operators that you can use in a program which are very much helpful to day-to-day programming. So there are various categories of the operators like arithmetic. These are basic arithmetic operators we use for the addition, the subtraction, multiplication, division, this modulo operators. There's some assignment operator, by using we assign some values. There's some logical operators. We will see these operators working in our next session when we use the various conditions checking methodologies. There are some comparison and relation operators where we do some comparison between two values, less than, greater than, equal symbol, not equal. There are some unary operator like plus plus, minus minus, and ternary operator. Okay, little bit of the unary operator. I am having two variables, int x and int y, and in y I am assigning value x and displaying x, displaying y. So by seeing this program I can see the value of x is 10 and value of y is also 10 because I am assigning value x. Okay, so both are having 10 10 right now. Now if I use a special symbol called plus plus after this x value, okay, now see what the output is. Now by putting this plus plus I can see the value x become 11 but y is still remaining 10. Okay, and if I put plus plus just before the x and run, now you see it's showing both values are equal. Now what is this? Now this particular operator, unary operator plus plus, increase the value by 1. Okay, but whenever you use this value, this operator before the value, so what it does actually, it first increase the value of x and then it assign to value y. So in this line, first x will become 11 and the 11 will be assigned to y. That's why y is also 11 and x is also 11. And if I put after the variable, so first the x will be assigned to y, so the y will be 10, and after that the x will be increment by 1, so after that the x will be 11. So that's why in this case I can see the x is 11 but y is 10. Okay, so similarly we can use the unary operator minus minus also. When we use the plus plus unary operator before the variable, it called as a pre-increment, and if I use after this, it called the post increment. Okay, fine. Now let's do some exercise before concluding the session. I have a variable a equal to 10, b is 20, and I am using this ternary operator. Now this is called a ternary operator. What this ternary operator is? This ternary operator is having three sections. Let me show you. So I having b is having 20. Okay, and I'm having one variable, string variable c equal to fine. After this, if I want to display the value of c, you will see what it's going to display. This particular line is using the ternary operator. Now ternary operator has three sections. There's one question mark, before that we have one section, after question mark we have another section, and this section is again divided into two sections using this column. Okay, now what is that? The first part is a logical expression that I have written where it will return the answer in boolean value, true or false. You can see it is written a is less than b. A is less than b, either it will be true or false. So in this case a is 10, b 20, and it is written a is less than b, that means is true. So if this condition is true, so out of these two values, the first value will be used and it will assign to value c. Okay, so in this case the value of c should be larger. Let's test it. Yes, and if I change the value of a as 100, so now this a less than b is false because a is not less than b. So this time this statement will be false, so it will take the last value. Okay, so this is called ternary operator. So ternary operator is a shortcut method to use some comparison based assignment. Okay, okay.